As we get near the end of the year, I know that so many of you are working on goal setting and thinking about strategic planning as we head into the next year. But I'd suggest to you that there are probably two questions that you need to be asking yourself, your team, and your situation that could have a dynamic impact on success and progress in the coming year. All right, welcome back to another episode of In a Matter of Minutes, where we share a proven and actionable process that you can apply to your practice right away. We're talking a little bit about goal setting and strategic planning as we head into the end of the year. And while I like to share these concepts with pretty much everyone, if you happen to be an advisor that is in the 150,000 to 350,000 gross revenue per year category, I think I want to speak to you a little bit more directly, and I'll talk about that in just a minute. I had mentioned that goal setting is a very big deal for our team internally, and certainly with the advisors that we work with. And there are a lot of components that go into goal setting and strategy planning and so forth. I believe that there are two questions that every advisor and every team ought to be asking as they look toward the coming year. Number one, if you could accomplish one thing in the next 6 to 9 months, 3 months, 6 months, whatever it might be, pick your time frame. If you could accomplish one thing in that time period that you think would make a difference in your practice, what would that be? The second part of that is, what is your current organization, your current affiliation doing to facilitate and promote that progress and growth? Those two questions are significant. Now, here's the thing. I've been asking that question for years. If I've asked it once, I've asked it 500 times. And what I can share with you is there is always a very specific answer. I've never had an advisor, even somebody that we're just newly engaged with, just kind of blow that off and say, I can't think of anything. Every advisor, every team, given just a couple of moments to think about that, has a specific answer. And it's all over the board. We need to be turning referrals into introductions. We get a lot of referrals, but we don't close them. I need to find the new key teammate, not sure where to look and how to hire and how do we retain people like that. Our branding is a little bit disconnected, and on and on and on it goes. There's always a specific answer. The question that we don't really get to often with advisors, and we've started to think about this as the industry is changing, is wherever you are now, what your current affiliation is, what are they doing to facilitate that growth? Do they have a plan in place to help you grow your plan and execute it? It's a big deal with every coming year. Now, I had mentioned that I wanted to speak to a category of advisors, the 150,000 gross revenue every year up to 350,000. And I think that that is a group that I want to speak to for this reason. Well, this industry, every single day, the news is talking about the race to 20,000 advisors, 30,000 advisors, and how organizations are buying, merging, acquiring, all of that kind of thing. And smaller organizations are getting bigger and bigger all the time. It's not lost on us that we hear advisors say things. At the very best, a lot of advisors are saying, I think the relationship that I've had all these years with this organization is starting to get a little watered down. At worst, we have advisors that say, I sort of feel like I'm invisible. I feel like I don't have anybody I can communicate with. And if I was going to ask that question, there isn't anyone that can help create a track for me. That's really significant. Goal setting and planning, strategic planning, certainly important. But the track that you lay out, goals are great, but without a plan to achieve them, they're just, I don't know, what do you call that? Wishes, dreams, that kind of thing. So let's talk about the answer to the second question. And here's what we very much believe about partnership, goal setting, strategic planning. And that is, it's really a 3-step process. Implementation is very key. An implementation partner is the difference maker, something that we focus on tremendously at USA Financial. It's why we stay smaller on purpose. And this is something that a lot of advisors used to have, this type of relationship with their current firm. But as that firm gets bigger and bigger, certain advisors are feeling, as I said, the relationship is watered down. They get left behind a little bit. So implementation partner is number one. Here's the thing. Putting together goals and strategies is fantastic. The plan to move along those things is fantastic. Many advisors, especially smaller firms that are really starting to achieve some success, if they're left to their own devices, oftentimes parts of the plan are doomed to fail. Not because you don't care, not because you're not committed, not because you're not good at what you do, but there's a lot going on in smaller organizations. So an implementation partner that rides alongside you really makes a difference. And when our advisors answer that first question, what is it you're trying to accomplish? What do you think will make a difference in your practice this year? It's your plan that we help implement. And we have an entire coaching program, an entire team, staff, marketing, everything that we need to come alongside you and make your plan happen. What implementation leads to is execution of your plan. Now, you could call it accountability. I think there's a little bit of that in there. We meet with our advisors typically every other week on strategic planning and coaching, and we work this through for not just this year, but years that follow. So the execution of your plan happens because there's implementation. There's a partner, somebody riding alongside you. If we implement and we execute, what we end up with is, obviously growth is where we're going, but we ask advisors to focus on progress. Let's look at the little steps that turn into the big steps. Making progress on a biweekly or monthly basis is really what leads to that growth. So as you're looking forward to this coming year and thinking about all of the things that you want to accomplish, ask yourself, can we implement? Are we in a position with our current affiliation to make that happen, to execute the plan, to focus on the progress? Now, love to have a conversation with you to share what details are how we implement and how all of that comes together. More importantly, love for you to join us in a mastermind small workshop event that we're having this coming January. And you can click the link below and get some information about that event. You can go to our landing page, you can read about it, you can find out all about what we do. There's a lot of focus on implementation and execution. And that event, 100% on us. Doesn't cost you anything to be there. Doesn't cost you anything to stay there. Obviously, when you're away from your practice for a couple of days and away from your family for a couple of days, that's a cost. But to have you join us, all on us. So as we conclude this segment of In a Matter of Minutes, if you could accomplish one thing in the next 6 to 9 months that would make a difference in your practice, what would that be? Number 2, what is your current situation, affiliation, partner doing to facilitate the growth and progress? Looking forward to the next episode. Looking forward to the next conversation with you. Thanks for stopping in.
This information is for licensed financial professionals only and is not intended for use in soliciting sales from the public. The views expressed represent the opinions of the presenter or their featured guest, not necessarily those of USA Financial or its affiliated subsidiaries. Industry references are generic and are not intended to represent actions or beliefs of any individual or entity. Content is only presented to illustrate general principles, beliefs, or ideas and should not be construed as legal or regulatory advice. Trademark and copyright protected. USA Financial and Affiliates.